Hi, this is Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to get into NESARA. How close are we? We're going to look at the financial features that are out there with this. So I know today is the 27th of July, and you go, is this ever going to end? I understand. I get it. I have the same feelings that many of you have as well. And so I'm just telling you, you got to be calm because here's what's happening in the background. Trump and Biden have a debate. And 2 days before the debate, you have CNN saying there's cheap fakes, cheap fakes, cheap fakes of Biden. And he bombs on this on stage. They Jill Biden walks him down the stairway as I have done to many a patient who can barely make steps downstairs. And then what is even more surprising to me is that they didn't just defend Biden and clip what he did well. They started to crucify Biden. I was like, holy cow, this is going crazy. Not even 2 weeks later, we have Trump getting shot, um, and then you know that the Secret Service is in the middle of that one, and FBI, and they're both saying FBI did it, Secret Service did it. They put 4 times the number of agents on Jill Biden in a 400 person uh, casino. That casinos have cameras everywhere, and they put 4 times the number of resources than they did at an open air facility or open air place that had shooters everywhere. And I mean, here what it is they just walked the Secret Service right into their own noose, because this has been a constant issue that has come up. On top of that, we start seeing that, Biden decides, well, I'm not going to run anymore. And then they let Kamala in, and she takes $81 million from coffers. It just goes crazier and crazier. And that's actually telling you how close we are. Here's something I want you to see. This is just something from Fox News, just hysterical stuff. I'm not trying to be rude here, but this is what they said on camera.
Yeah, and then there's the DEI press secretary telling you that the DEI vice president is the future of the party here. And so the future looks kind of dim for the Democrats here, but this is no shocker either. Kamala Harris, she's the original Haktua girl. That's the way she got where she is. And the party's going downhill if it's in her hands.
That was tough. That was harsh.
Listen, for them to say she's the original Haktua girl, it is just going, you've got to be kidding me. They're saying this stuff on camera. They could have cut this. They didn't. They left it in there. This is kind of exposing the media over and over again that they've always been complicit to this situation. It's not about Fox and it's not about CNN. It's all of them, including Fox, just keeps telling you, well, think about democracy. We're not a democracy. We never have been a democracy in original intent. But the cabal wants you to know or think that we're a democracy. Ridiculous. Okay, so let's walk into some interesting parts, how close we are. Now, listen, almost every one of the truthers I know of is getting this little thing where you get a face, statements, wordings that are communicating with you. I never communicate with people to go get a QFS crypto. And then people go, well, it's your representative. No, it's not. They're fakers and they're from the pit of hell. And so don't touch them. Don't do anything with them. Block and delete. Report them every time because I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds on every single channel who are faking my image. Okay? Trust me, you are going to be caught in the end. This is a concerted effort against all of the truthers to denigrate all of us with that too, because I don't get any money and I wouldn't get any money from that kind of stuff. They steal it all from you. Don't give them that opportunity. Okay. All right. Let's show you something pretty darn funny here. This is what Kamala said back in 2022, 2021. 2022, 2021, somewhere in that range. And if you can't hear it, it's right on the screen, actually, what she actually said. So let me bring that up.
We're looking at over 220 million Americans who just in the last several months died.
What? You see, this is how stupid she is. And they let her keep saying this. And I love this kind of statement here.
What you just said is one of the most
So I'm going to not have it read out loud, but you can see at this point what he says there. Everyone in this room is now dumber. So the reality is, this is from one of the movies that is out there, and may God have mercy on your soul. This is how stupid they are. This is what they do to fake you out. Okay, don't let it fake you out. Don't let it mess with you, because this is partly what you're seeing on screen is partly a white hat operation with that too. Okay, so let me show you a couple interesting things. One of the things that we're actually finding from the reality is that when you have a little bit higher earners, anything about 40,000 and above, you're seeing less than about 3 to 5% unemployment rate. But when you have the lower income earners, what's happening there is the jobs that are out there are for lower income earners. See, when Biden tells you that, oh, we've added jobs, I beg to differ. It isn't about adding jobs. They're adding crud jobs, because what they've done is raised the hourly rate. For instance, in Seattle area, they have $15 an hour. In California, it's at $20 an hour. What happens to businesses is they used to have you at a full-time job. Now they have to drop you to a part-time job. And that's what happens. So you have to go 3 or 4 different jobs just to make it in this kind of situation. It's untenable and unusable for future use. And this is what they love doing. Now, I don't want you to get too sideways on this, because this is a fascinating kind of point here. But when you compare 29 right over here to 24, when you just look at the housing market crash and unemployment's rising higher and higher. You know, we have a crash coming on all of these kinds of levels. And he says in here, IMF demise, quadrillion dollar deleveraging event, quadrillion dollar. I mean, that is massive. And this is worldwide, how much deleveraging is happening. There's talking about a banking implosion, the U.S. deficit sitting at 100 trillion. How do you say 100 trillion? You're talking about all the other debts that are out there, on top of business debts, on top of the national debt. Okay, and then we have the possibility of gold being $10,000 or $100,000 here. I don't think it's going to go that high. I think it's probably anywhere from 5, 10, 15,000, with that. But it would be a massive level. NESARA is coming. You just have to realize in the back end of this, they are being defunded. Let me show you another kind of thing here, because most people are missing the background of NESARA. Dr. Louise is a friend of mine, and she kind of put together a video. This is just an interesting kind of point that she puts out here. The amendments to the Constitution, the 14th Amendment comes in 1868. Now, remember, you have 1861 to 1865. I might be wrong on that exact date, but we have the Civil War. In April of 65, Lincoln is killed. Why is he killed months and months after the war? It's because he put together a greenback dollar, a dollar made by the federal government, because they were taking it away from the central bankers. Almost all the wars are banking wars. Okay. Now, in 1868, Congress said this, that, it's talking about no senator, representative in Congress, or elected person, okay, shall engage in insurrection and rebellion. And you go, well, they're not doing that, are they? What do you think happens when you give comfort to your enemy? And what happens in here, and it talks a little bit about, it goes on a little further into this. In essence, what occurred in the third section here, it's talking about previously doing your oath. When we look at what one of the stuff that happens in the January 6th area, when you apply this a little closer, what you find is that they are messing with the votes. They've messed with votes for generations. It basically says that anyone who is a part of the January 6th thing, which is not the people that came in, but the electoral people, including Nancy Pelosi, who actually says that she was responsible for January 6th, it says that they are guilty of insurrection and rebellion because they have an oath of office. This is Executive Order 13818 or 883, sorry, 13848, 13848, which is if you have election fraud, what happens? You lose because that's a crime against humanity with that. The fourth section of this is the validity of public debt. Now, this is kind of strange when you read it because it says the United States or any state shall not assume or shall, if they assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred because of insurrection or rebellion to the United States, all these debts, obligations, and claims are to be held illegal and void. No, in essence, what that's telling you is that if a foreign power makes us try to pay debts that are not our own debts, you go, well, how is that? How would that happen? Central banking federal, the Federal Reserve. The Fed is a central banking external agent trying to make you pay for a illegal debt. So the two specific illegal debts that it's talking about is the $36 trillion on the national debt. And here's the other one. Inflation is another level of debt. You cannot be held liable, and therefore it is illegal and void. Now, I know some people tell you all the time that we paid off $20 trillion of the debt. You don't pay off debts when this occurs. You say, no, we don't have to pay it. You guys swallow it. I don't care what you do, you swallow it. And we're making them do this with Executive Order 13818. Crimes against humanity, you lose it all. Okay? Now, the end is not going to be for everyone. You have to understand there's 220,000 sealed indictments. Some people say there's many as 250 to 500,000 sealed indictments. This just tells you some of the states, how many indictments that are in the states. The reality is that if there are, and we'll just use Wyoming just as 59 different indictments, that doesn't mean 59 people. That means the people that are hooked up to that particular indictment. So what happens is that of this 59, it could be 600 people or whatever. It's many more people than you realize. And here's the funny part. 80% of that is the election and the voter fraud. When you have that level of that fraud, what occurs is that these people are going to federal prison. And if they've gone deeper than that, their oath to office could put them in line for treason. And that is levels of military tribunals. Because the only one that can preside over someone who has done this level of fraud, which, by the way, we talk about Joe, we talk about Nancy, we talk about all of these things. Even on the right, we have several of them. And it's not about right or left. It's about who allows this stuff. When you allow it, or you are a part of that kind of thing. Even in Oklahoma, Langford, it was definitely paid off in this way. So, some of these sealed indictments are for many of them for congressmen and senators. They are so involved in this thing. and it will not be good for them in the future here. Trust me, this is why we're doing this, and this is why it's taking so long, because you got to catch them all. Okay. Now, another kind of thing I want to show you, this is just a sidelong thing. You might have to pause this and kind of open up your phone if you want to see this here. But here's an interesting letter I received on July 8th of 2024. So we have used, it's called a healthcare retail services. So what happens with Wells Fargo is they started showing up in our market, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. And what they were doing is they were doing financing for our patients. So they would give 24 or 36-month no interest financing, or they would do, extended financing. And they were much better rates than, a GE credit and some of the other ones. Okay. And they were actually more friendly to my patients, because, a patient called up and said, hey, can I make the payment from the 15th to the 13th or 18th or whatever? And they were like, yeah, no problem. And then we get this very strange letter, and to kind of give you the background, what they were saying is that we are terminating all services of that by September 16, 2024, which means they're not doing any more loans. Now they'll service the loan through the end of their period of time frame, whatever that might be, but they are not servicing any more loans. Why is Wells Fargo doing this? Now, by the way, Philadelphia Stadium, they had it was Wells Fargo Arena. I mean, where the Flyers and the Phillies, or excuse me, the Flyers and the 76ers play. They are taking their name down. Why would they be doing this? Because they're going through the bankruptcy reorganization. They're not allowed to do those compound loans. They're not allowed to do any more of this. And Wells Fargo was one of the first ones to do this. And for them to bring this out, it should be very, very exciting for you, because banking is going to come back in line with the reality. And fascinating too, 2 days after I got the letter, I mean, it was last week or whatever it was, and I got a phone call from the Wells Fargo rep. And I'm like, yeah, what you want? He's like, well, we wanted you to know about it. I was like, I already read the letter. I understood it. And he goes, well, do you have other options of other people to do? I'm like, I already have other finance options if patients want that kind of thing. Why would you be calling about this? I mean, it's a strange phone call. Listen, if you're going out of business, you don't call people and say, we're going out of business and we're not going to service your people anymore. I mean, that's just a way to get yelled at if you think about it. I mean, I didn't yell at the guy, but it's very, very strange why they would accomplish this way. Um, it, these people are pulling back because they're not going to be allowed to do the things that they've done in the past. Here's another one. Thomas Massey, who lost his wife very recently. I'm just really sad for him with this too. Had, a wonderful wife, very young wife with this. And, I mean, several kids. It was very, very sad circumstance. But he goes, an intriguing policy. Now, this is after he lost his wife too. An intriguing policy area happened in the GOP meeting at the Capitol Hill Club this morning. Trump briefly floated the concept of eliminating income tax and replacing it with tariffs. And you go, if you know anything about NESARA, IRS taxation is going away, and Trump is telling you in front of your face. What I want you to see is the yellow line are the tariffs. So this is basically through the around 1933. And then around that time frame, they had a spike and a usage. And this is around the 70s. And you see the red area is all the income taxation. Okay. So what they did is they pulled away all the tariffs. So they let people get away scot-free, so they could, other countries could have many, many debts to us, and they never had to pay them back. So what we're doing is they were stealing from the people and letting everyone else get off. And here's the point. And he put this out here. I didn't put this out here. He put this up. He knows it's coming. My personal information that I'll give you as we kind of end here. bring this off the screen. My personal information is I've actually heard from several senators, or excuse me, several congressmen who actually know that this NESARA thing is occurring. They can't tell you in essence in the open market what's happening, but it is happening. Be calm, hold on, live your life, go out and do your work. Okay, you got work to do your work, make your money, be able to take care of yourself. Okay, because I still have my practice, I still take care of my practice, and I still come in here and doing this stuff for you. Okay, but the reality is, be calm, because it is coming, and it's coming like a freight train. They are not getting away with all this stuff, and you have to arrest them all, and that is coming. Okay, so hope that helps you out. If you want to go ahead and check out Dr. Scott Young, you can download some interesting articles in there. You can donate if you feel like it. Not asking you to, but if you want to donate, that you can. You can also see on Dr. Scott NESARA to see the Telegram page. Those are the two pages that we really kind of work from, and Twitter as well. Okay, thanks so much.